In our younger days, we built and sailed trimarans. When we got married, we dreamed of sailing the world.
As we look forward to retirement, our dream is becoming real. We chose a Seawind catamaran, or maybe she chose us.
And after a lifetime of dreams, our boat finally arrived. We are shaking her out in the Chesapeake Bay and along the mid-Atlantic coast.
We christened her Moments in Time, reminding us to cherish each moment. The sea is calling. Come share the dream.
In the previous episode, we invested much blood, sweat, and tears in repairing our brand new UP340 that was damaged during shipping. We were not happy about it, but wanted to move forward with the repairs because we were not confident that a replacement UP340 would arrive in a timely manner. We were correct. Ultralight Performance boats have since gone dark. Join us in this episode as we complete the repairs and answer the question, were we dingbats? Due to the very restrictive access, I had to use overlapping multiple layers of carbon fiber. I sanded my previous work to knock down any high spots. I grabbed more carbon fiber and epoxied the whole repair in, extending well beyond the original repair and the original crack, hoping to reinforce any carbon fiber that might have been compromised. So not right. But I did not know what else to do. This is the only option I had. So hopefully this will work. I found out that if the bow is not slightly higher than the stern, that rain can seep into the bow locker from the hatch. Once in the bow locker, it has nowhere to go. I don't know how water got in the anchor well. It must have came in through the rain, so that's something I have to look into. You can see the three little drain holes I drilled in the anchor locker. This fills up with water. It might be lockable, but it's not weather tight, and it fills up with water. So just drilling those three simple holes should allow any of the water to just drain into the bilge and out the back through the main drain plug. Rick, you need to incorporate this in all future UP340s. Either that or make the lockable bow locker weather tight. Well, while I have the camera out, I did come across some leftover marine weather stripping. So I did put a bead around the anchor locker just to make that more waterproof in heavy rains of water coming over the back. I have drain holes in here, but there's the weather stripping I just stuck around here. Water can still enter through the forward grab rails, either in heavy rain or heavy seas, so those drain holes are still important. Another thing I noticed when I had the stern end of the UP340 up, water was seeping through these brackets that secured a forward gas tank. Probably happened when the anchor locker flooded because of rains. So I had to take the brackets out and let the water seep out over a couple of days. Now I'm going to seal them. Not very well thought out. I expected better. These are the brackets here and here, here and here. So I'm going to put some 4200 in there, seal them, and put them back in. Because there was no sealant on these screws, I suspected this is one of the reasons why water had seeped into the false bottom. Done. But again, I should not have to have done this. There was significant water accumulating in the false bottom. I could hear it sloshing around, even after repairing the forward anchor locker. Here you can see the water slowly seeping out of the drain well at the stern. This should not be happening. Where water seeps out, it must have seeped in. Now I'm questioning if the carbon fiber was properly saturated. I could feel the additional weight of the water just by lifting and lowering the bow. I estimate that there was 5 to 8 gallons of water simply sloshing around the false bottom. I had to get it out. At this rate, the water was never going to drain out. I'm going to have to take more drastic options. Okay, this thing has collecting water in the false bottom here. it's quite a significant amount of water. I found it seeping through the carbon, which is a whole nother problem. But I'm going to drill a hole so the water will drain out. It took a while for all this water to finally drain out. The hole I drilled, I don't know if whether I should patch it or leave it in there and let any other accumulations just drain out on a permanent basis. I might simply just cover it. I don't know yet. It could be leaking anywhere else on the bottom. I don't know. I feel a little bit of flexibility here, but I don't know if that's okay or not. I don't know if it's lack of lamination or it's just the way it's supposed to be. I ended up mixing some thickened epoxy to paint that area around the drain where the water was seeping through. If water was seeping out, it must have been seeping in. I also drilled that hole to let excess water drain out. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know if I'm going to leave that hole in there or not. I haven't made my mind up yet. I might just cover it up with flex tape or something like that. I didn't have the right epoxy, so once I put that thickened epoxy down, I had to paint it to protect it from the ultraviolet sun. So this is where we're at. While I had the paint out, I went ahead and painted over the cracked transom repair. If this boat holds together, I might just paint the whole floor white at the end of the season or whenever I get a chance. But right now, I'm just trying to get this damn thing on the water and see if she holds together. You ever notice that when you're epoxying or painting, that's the time thunderstorms want to pay you a visit? We've had 2 weeks of thunderstorms every night. So every time I had worked on the dinghy, I had to cover it up. It worked. It kept everything dry. Another thing that bothers me about this UP340 is the way the battery's installed in the stern. It's not level. I don't know if a battery needs to be level. I would assume it needs to be level. So I'm going to see if I can put a simple workaround for it. You can see how the battery's kind of crooked in there. My simple solution is just to get some door jambs and see if I can secure them there, either with tape or 4200 or something, and I think that might level it out. These are the stainless steel door jambs, so let me put them in there and see if it makes a difference. I don't know if you can see that in the shadows, but there are the door jambs, and I think that will work rather nicely. Yeah, those simple door jambs is enough to level it out, so I might just attach it to the battery case, slide everything back in there, strap her down, and should be fine. I took the door jambs and some 4200 and just installed them on the boat and laid bricks on it so it will settle. I strapped the battery in and it looks pretty level. I'm happy with this simple bougie solution. I had some of these laying around, and I'm going to put them behind the bags just to kind of use it to tidy up the wires and maybe hold a little fishing rod that I'm going to keep on the boat. Maybe put 2 or 3 on each side here just to kind of hold up my fishing rod. If they don't work, no big deal. I had them lying around collecting dust anyway. I bought some cheap oarlocks from Amazon so I can store the oars without them flopping all over the place. I don't know. I 5200 them in. I don't know how long they're going to last. So between the hooks I got up here and these oarlocks, I got less than $20 invested in it. So if it holds, great. If it doesn't, then I'll figure out a more permanent solution. But right now, it doesn't look like they're going anywhere. And they're on both sides. And then the bag will fold back up over them. And I don't think they'll ever get in our way, leaving this whole open part done. Here you can see the fishing rod holding up on those hooks. I hope it holds up. But if not, nothing lost. I don't know I do know what's going on with ultralight boats. They're suffering, obviously, production problems, which really wasn't a well-kept secret. And they're going through some financial issues as well. I think most of us got an email saying that they're going through a restructuring. They got some external investors, and I'm looking at this as a good news. I still like the dinghy. Since I've gotten this broken dinghy, I've been looking for alternatives, and I haven't really found any. UP claims they're still going to replace this, but at this point, I need to go sailing, and I need to get something going. I did some more repairs and got this thing ready, so I'm going to just try to use it, even if I'm using it for 3 months, 6 months, whatever, until I get my replacement. I hope UP gets their stuff together. I really like their boats. They just need to step it up a little bit. So I'm done. I think I'm going to wash it, rig it all back up, load the gear back up, and try to splash her here real soon. I don't know if I'm going to air this video in case there's legal issues until I got my replacement. We'll see, but this is where I'm at. And the sad part of all the headaches, all the delays, all the issues I have, I really still like this dinghy. I can't find anything that compares to it. For what I need. This might not suit everybody, but for what I need, this is still the pickup truck dinghies that I've been wanting. So I hope they get their stuff together and come through. We hauled our UP340 to Solomon's, christened her the Miss Anamarie, and gently launched her at our marina's dinghy dock with the help of some burly marina staff. And there she is. 2 years after ordering her, the Miss Anamarie splashes into the water for the very first time. The Miss Anamarie floated on her lines while we waited to ensure that there were no leaks before taking her out. We took her out on very calm seas and slowly put her through some paces to make sure that there were no unknown issues. My repairs held while on the motor, and we did not find any new problems. Success. Once I became more confident, I took the Miss Anamarie into rougher waters and higher speeds. With my Tohatsu 20 horsepower, she comes up on plane at about 9.5 knots and can comfortably remain on plane at 10.5 knots. I think she could plane faster if somebody was sitting further forward. In comfortable seas, I usually cruise between 15 and 18 knots. I had her topped out at 22 knots. So far, she seems dry, but I need to experience a rough chop to know for sure. We wheeled her around on the beach wheels and beached her multiple times without any issues. The transom repair is holding. We have experienced a Chesapeake chop and some rough weather, and so far, all is well. We use ratchet straps to keep the Miss Anamarie snugged against the transom of moments in time. We get many compliments on our UP340, and it's really disappointing to tell folks that UP boats appear to be no longer in business. Did we get the last one? The last modification I made was to 5200 some snap hooks under the gunnel to align with the dinghy brackets for easier fender attachments. And here's where we're at. I'm using the Miss Anamarie, my UP340 as is. I have confidence in the repairs I've made. I worry about the unknown quality that might be lurking around there. If you notice, I always keep my bridle on my outboard motor when I have it hung up, so she breaks in half, which I don't think she will. At least, hopefully, I can save the motor. But I'm not happy with UP. And it's unfortunate because I really still like the dinghy itself. And everybody I talk to loves this dinghy. The issue is UP had very poor business practice or no business common sense. And they just defaulted on a bunch of people. Which is very unfortunate. But if I had to do it over, I just maybe spend the bucks for an OCT. The OCT 350, I think, is what would have gone with. Whether I would have paid the extra for the carbon fiber, I don't think I would have, but OCT is a better dinghy. You got it, Russell. I wish you smacked me upside the head earlier, but this is where I'm at. And I hope this is the end of it. I think we ended up to be dingbats for going this route. It's unfortunate.
Leave a comment! Subscribe! Bye! Bye! Bye!